I just ran my generate movies script, and it took 1,254 seconds. The entire video folder, let's see. The entire video folder is 796 megabytes, which is pretty significant. Some things that I think that I can do are look at the quality of these videos to see if I actually want to keep them. So let's just look at the MP4. This is with a CRF of 26. For at least this size, that doesn't look bad. And at 8.1 megabytes, that's not tremendously huge. Let's look at the WebM. Which one do I want to see? So I want to look at the largest, 17.3, 17.4. So this is with a buffer of 5 megabytes, FPS of 5. One of the interesting things, let's look at the name sorting, PS5. It's kind of interesting, with a buffer of 15 megabytes, the file is actually slightly smaller than with a buffer of 5 megabytes. But to be more consistent with what I think I'm going to go with on the MP4 side, let's only look at the FPS 26 and 52. So with 26 frames per second, the smallest option is 2.5, 52, 2.2. So that is significantly smaller than 8.1 or 6.3 by a factor of around 3 or 4 respectively. With a buffer of 5 megabytes, so I'm just going to open all these. That's 500 kilobytes. This is 15 megabytes. Should be 5. So an interesting thing about the WebPs is that at the beginning, it doesn't look good. There's a lot of artifacting that's going on with the image. And that doesn't look good. It's less noticeable for the 15 megabyte buffer. File size. 11.2 is larger than 8.1 or 6.3. So one of the options that we have is to go back through and reanimate these frames so that they are less likely to give us glitches. I'm not sure if you saw that. So like this frame right here is clear. The frame after has a lot of artifacts. So I think the very simple frames, the ones without a lot of, I wouldn't necessarily call it noise because it was intentional, but might as well call it noise. The ones with a lot of visual stuff going on aren't well suited for WebP formats. I don't think there's anything like that that goes on with the MP4s though. Also, this is with a CRF of 26. So let's see if there's an improvement when we go down to CRF of 5. CRF05 is significantly larger for the MP4 in every instance, and the quality isn't noticeably bad, in my opinion. So I don't think that we would go for a CRF05 given the file size. 61 for the largest versus 15, and 36 for the smallest versus 6. That's about a factor of 4 for the largest and a factor of 6 for the smallest. Let's look at the WebMs. 4.2 megabytes, 11 megabytes. So some of these later frames feel like they're clearer. CR5 buffer 15. Some of these earlier frames do as well. So if we really cared about quality, which one is this? CRF5 buffer 15. CRF5 buffer 15, 11 megabytes. It's twice the size as an MP4. Same, roughly the same quality. But the others are significantly smaller. So 4.2 is noticeably smaller than 6.4 megabytes. It's a buffer of 5 megabytes. So the big question is this quality acceptable enough to replace the MP4? Is it worth saving 2 megabytes? And for the sake of completion, let's look at the 500 kilobyte version. That looks pretty bad. If I have 1 megabytes, it also looks pretty bad. And personally, I believe the initial, like these earlier frames, are too noisy and aren't very cohesive with the rest of the animation anyways. So I think I don't mind going back and redrawing those frames and then seeing if I can get a similar quality with a re-export and with a re-export of the MP4 and WebM files. Is that everything? I think so. I'm going to copy these into the own directory. And in terms of actual playback, 52 frames per second is relatively quick, but we can play this back slower if we want to. The MP4 is noticeable quality. Like, the quality is noticeable. And I have get large file storage installed for this repository. So at some point, while I believe that I'm going to want to prune the out directory in general, it is kind of nice to have the versions. In the future, I don't think that I will generate as many. Let's see. I don't think that I need to do all of these options. CRF of 26. I don't think I'm going to want it all for the WebMs. So that saves us 4 files, 8 files. Let's see, CRF of 13. I don't think I'm, well, I don't think I'm going to necessarily want. Is that what I'm sticking with? Keep. CR for 5, CR for 26. I think these are the same. Oh, right. So I want these for the WebM, or for the MP4, but not for the WebM. CR for 5. So we're only going to generate the MP4 for CRF of 26 because the quality is comparable. Cool. That's all for now. So now I'm going to revisit the animation and Procreate, re-export the PSD, and rerun the entire script. How long will that take? I don't think I want 5 frames per second either. Cool.